We start this hour with more breaking news on the Israel-Hamas war. Today marks day 3 of a 4-day ceasefire in Gaza. More hostage releases are expected as Israel's exchange deal with Hamas continues. Israel's prime minister's office said it's now reviewing the list of hostages slated for release by Hamas today. This morning, during an interview with Kristen Walker on NBC's Meet the Press, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said the administration has, quote, reason to believe one American hostage will be released today. Yesterday, Hamas released 17 hostages, 13 Israelis and 4 Thai citizens. And Israel released 39 Palestinian prisoners, according to the Israel Prison Authority. But that exchange was delayed for several hours after Hamas accused Israel of violating the terms of that temporary truce. A diplomat telling NBC News a Qatari operations team is located in Tel Aviv to ensure the deal continues to run smoothly. Meanwhile, a flow of much-needed humanitarian aid trucks continue to enter into Gaza. Joining me now, NBC News correspondent Aaron McLaughlin in Tel Aviv, Israel. Aaron, good morning. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan saying one American may be among those hostages released today. Take a quick listen to his interview from earlier on Meet the Press.
Do you expect American hostages to be released today?
Well, Kristen, the initial hostage deal involves the release of women and children, and there are 3 Americans in that category, 2 women and 1 young child. And we have reason to believe that one of those Americans will be released today. But until we see her out safely from Gaza, in the hands of the authorities and ultimately in the hands of her family, then we won't be certain.
Aaron, you're over in that region. What have you heard? And is there some process of notifying the families of these hostages that will be released?
Hey, Katie. Well, we have been speaking to families of hostages still being held inside of Gaza, and they describe just this detailed process by which they get notified that their loved one may be among those released at 4 p.m. the day prior, according to one family member. He says that they all get a phone call. Every single family member gets a call from Israeli officials letting them know whether or not their loved ones are on the list to be released the next day. One family member describing the call as Russian roulette. Another one saying that with each release gives them hope for the next release and the next release. This is a harrowing process because even if they are told that their loved one is going to be released, is going to be on the list, they of course do not know for sure until that loved one is then handed over to Israeli officials. Now, I've been speaking to an ICRC spokesperson earlier this morning. She said the process for today's hostage exchange is underway, but she was underscoring just the fragility of this process, releasing a statement saying these operations are delicate and complicated, and one can never be absolutely certain they will take place given all of the complexities. So right now, this is a region very much holding its breath to see if this exchange does in fact go forward today. Katie.
NBC News correspondent Aaron McLaughlin live in Tel Aviv. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And joining me now for more on this conversation, former ambassador of Israel to the United Kingdom, Mark Regev, who now serves as a senior advisor to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Ambassador, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan saying that an American may be among those released today. Talk a little bit about what it takes to get an American hostage out of a situation that clearly is the conflict between Israel and Hamas.
First of all, we'd like them all to come out immediately, all the hostages. They should all be released immediately and unconditionally, but Hamas doesn't want to play that game. And so with the help of the Biden administration, we've negotiated a deal that allows for 50 people to be released over a period of 4 days. So far, we've received two groupings of 13, which totals 26, which means there's another 24 that Hamas has committed to release in the next 2 days. Now, as you know, the priorities that were negotiated were for women and children. As your national security advisor told NBC this morning, there are 3 Americans in that category, and we hope to see them in the coming 2 days.
Ambassador, is this just buying time for Hamas to regroup and to basically live to fight another day. We all know that Israel is, at the conclusion of this 4-day ceasefire, still made it very clear that it's going to pursue its military targets in Gaza.
That's correct. This is a pause in the fight against Hamas to get our people out. But you have to remember that the framework deal that was agreed to, we say up front, we are willing to extend this pause for the release of further hostages. There's actually a formula in place which says for an extra day of the pause, 10 hostages will be released, and for a further day, 10, another 10, and so on. And so if Hamas decides that it wants to extend the pause will be extended. All they have to do is to release hostages, because that's one of the major goals of our operation. And the pause in the operation is to allow that to happen, to allow hostages to be released. But it's only a pause in the operation. In the end, we have no choice but to eliminate Hamas. After the sort of violence we saw them commit on October 7th, and the repeated statements of Hamas leaders that given the chance, given the opportunity, given the capability, they would only repeat the massacre of October 7th. In their words, they said again and again and again, our goal remains the same, the dismantling of the Hamas military machine and the end of their rule in Gaza. Ultimately, that's good for Israel for obvious reasons, but it's also good for the people of Gaza, who deserve better than this regime, this terror regime that's been ruling the Gaza Strip for the last 16 years and has brought the Palestinians there nothing but poverty and punishment and bloodshed. They deserve better too.
Ambassador, in the prior hour during an interview with Aaron David Miller, he indicated that part of the complications in the negotiations between Israel and Hamas, and with a full understanding, sir, that Hamas is a terrorist organization, so to the extent that that can be done in good faith, the complication comes from the fact that there's no direct negotiations, that you've got Qataris, you've got Americans, you've got other kind of people that are involved in this process. Do you agree with that assessment, that because it's not a direct negotiation, that that's further complicating issues?
No, I don't believe so. Obviously, it can be convoluted at times in that we talk to the Americans and the Americans talk to the Qataris, and the Qatar people talk to the Hamas people in Gaza. And I'm not sure there's another way to do it in this stage, though the Egyptians have also tried to be helpful. But the fact remains that Hamas is a terrorist organization like ISIS, like Al-Qaeda. And the idea that we would have diplomatic conversations with a terrorist group is unacceptable. Obviously, we wouldn't. But here we're using the Qatar government. They have relations with Hamas. They actually host the Hamas leadership in their country. And they're told the world, when people criticize them for hosting terrorists, and people in Israel and in the United States have criticized them for it, they say, our relationship with Hamas brings benefits. And this is their opportunity to show that, yes, their relationship with Hamas brings benefits. Well, if they bring out 50 hostages through that relationship, so people in Israel will say, yes, that has helped. But once again, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and we're all waiting to see what will happen after the fourth day. Will Hamas pursue the option of extending the humanitarian pause and release another 10 hostages? Ultimately, we're willing for that, and we're not sure what Hamas wants to do. As you see, every day they've been causing problems. They've always last-minute setbacks, last-minute postponements. We've never had the hostages released on time. We'll see what happens today. But that is Hamas, and I've said, and I'll say it again now, anyone who's dealing with Hamas, you have to have nerves of steel. Yes, they are extremely difficult to deal with. They are a brutal and fanatical terror organization. They'll say one thing and do the other. They have no compulsion about killing the innocent, and they have no trouble about killing the truth either. Sometimes their statements have no relationship whatsoever to reality. But as President Biden said in his press conference on Friday, we don't trust Hamas, but we believe that they will function under pressure. And the pressure of a renewed Israeli military operation against them. We were, up until this pause, we were destroying their military machine. We were eliminating their senior commanders. They were having blow after blow they were receiving from the Israeli military. And I think that was the important push that made them go for the humanitarian pause, because they understood that was the only way they could get a timeout. And I believe if we keep the threat of the pressure up, and if need be, we apply the pressure again, that is the best way to facilitate the release of hostages.
Well, we are on day 3 of a day 4 ceasefire, so we'll see whether or not Hamas, frankly, puts its money where its mouth is and it actually releases the hostages today. Ambassador Mark Regev, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.